This is why new riders should stay away from sport bikes. So number one, it has a very aggressive posture. You're leaning forward, the handlebars don't turn too far left and right, so it's going to limit your learning. It's going to be very difficult to learn the basics on a bike that's super aggressive and not meant for new riders. You'd be so much better on learning on something upright, which is in a very much neutral, comfortable position versus a lean forward aggressive one. Next, sport bikes are just unbelievably fast. And they get going so fast, so easily. They're designed to go fast. They have a pointed nose that just slices through the wind. You're leaning forward and it's an aggressive bike. It's made to be on a track, but it's just street legal enough to where you can ride it around on public roads. And when I'm talking about sport bikes, I mean something like this, like a 600cc or up full-blown sport bike. I don't mean an R3. I don't mean a Ninja 400. I don't mean things like that. Sure, you could call it a sport bike, but what I'm talking about are 600cc sport bikes and up. And this is something a lot of people don't realize. And this is something I actually forgot about. So this is my first time having a sport bike in like 8 years. So for the past 8 years, I've had nothing but naked or dual sport or upright bikes. And on bikes like that, you feel the sensation of speed because there's nothing blocking the wind. So if you're going 80 miles per hour, it feels like you're going 80 miles per hour because you're getting blasted by the wind. Now that I just bought this bike, the lean forward and the full fairings, all the plastic and the windshield and everything, wow, you could really get going and it doesn't feel like you're going fast at all. It's quite bizarre of a feeling. So what this does, all the plastics, all the full fairings, everything, it really distorts your sense of speed. So the upright bikes, it feels like you're going the speed that you're going, but on a full-blown sport bikes, you lose that sensation completely. And for new riders on a sport bike, you're going to be going way too fast, way too quickly, way too easily to go that fast, and you're not going to know how to handle it. You don't have the skill, the reflexes, or the judgment to really understand those speeds, how fast you're going, how to brake, how to slow down, how to swerve, etc. And I know you can be going quickly on an R3 or a Ninja 400, but it just takes a while to get there, right? You can still go 80, 90, 100 miles per hour on those bikes, but we have a long time to think about it. Full-blown sport bikes, you could do that damn near first gear. So trying to compare like an R3 with like something like this, or even like a GSXR 600, is like trying to compare a Hellcat to a Camry. And you wouldn't give a 16-year-old kid learning how to drive a Hellcat. It's way too expensive, it's way too powerful, it's way too heavy. Exact same reason. You're not going to put a brand new rider on a full-blown 600cc or higher sport bike. Just think about the insurance. You're 18 years old and your first bike is a sport bike. And this is another thing people say that drives me crazy. Oh, the sport bike, it has riding modes. Just put it in the low power mode for a while and then just get used to it that way. Okay, so first, you're relying on technology, which you should be relying on technique. And you don't have any technique because you just took the beginner course and you think you're Marc Marquez after spending a couple days riding around learning the basics. There's a whole lot more to learn after that. And technology isn't the most important thing. You should be. You need to be learning the technique, practicing what you're taught enough to where it becomes muscle memory. Saying, oh, just put the bike in a low power mode, big problems with that. Because this is what's going to happen. After about 10 minutes of riding around in the low power mode, you're going to switch that thing to full power and be like, oh, it's good, it's not that powerful, I can handle it. And you're going to go fly off a cliff or run into somebody else because you can't. And even if the bike is in low power mode, you can't magically take away the weight of the thing or the aggressive posture, so it doesn't make any sense anyways. The number one priority is to learn how to ride. After you get your license, keep in mind that's basic 8th grade level stuff. I don't care where you are in the world, no matter what beginner course looks like to you, how long it takes or what you do or don't do, it's still just the basics. There is so much more to learn beyond that. KTM 390 Duke, MT-03, Ninja 400, Z400, I think these bikes, maybe if you're a bigger person and have some dirt experience, maybe like an MT-07, something like that for a beginner rider for at least a year with 2 or 3 additional courses on top of that within the first year of riding. That's what I recommend. And if you didn't know and you're new to my channel, so my very first bike was a 2012 CBR 1000 RR. And some people have emailed me and said, well, you started on 1000 and it turned out okay for you. I could do the same thing. Well, probably not. And this is why. My very first year of riding, I took about 7 or 8 different classes above and beyond the beginner stuff. I did a couple track days and put on over 50,000 miles in 1 year. So yes, I did start on a CBR 1000 RR, but within the first 12 months, I did more training and put on more miles than some people do in 10 years. And this was at the end of an 11-year career in the Marines before I even started to ride. So I understand the value of practice and repetition and training and judgment and risk management and all that stuff before I even touched the bike. And I was also 29 years old when I started riding. I remember myself back at 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and I was a complete idiot. There's no way I'm glad I didn't damn buy a sport bike or any type of motorcycle when I was young, because I probably wouldn't be here. So just keep in mind, new riders, I highly recommend staying away from sport bikes. The reason why I got another one again, it's like full circle. When I started riding a little over 10 years ago, was a sport bike, and then nothing but non-sport bikes forever, and then now full circle, I'm back on a sport bike because I learned a tremendous amount in the past 8 years since I've had one. But I've also been through 24 courses. I was an instructor for 8 years, more than 500,000 miles, so I've learned a bunch, and I pretty much know how to ride pretty well. But new riders, I highly recommend you stay away from these bad boys. I know they freaking look cool and they're awesome and everything like that, but if you don't want to end up a statistic, I'd kind of keep it away for a little bit. It's like the whole delayed gratification thing, right? Do you want one donut right now or 2 donuts tomorrow? Maybe sacrifice the first year of your riding, taking a bunch of courses, practicing your butt off, and actually learn how to ride a smaller CC bike like an R3. Learn lines, throttle control, momentum and speed and vision. Learn all the basics on a smaller bike. And, by the way, it's a whole lot of fun having a smaller bike and riding it very fast and maxing it out than having a big powerful bike and you're afraid of the power and you can't use a tenth of it anyway because you don't know what you're doing and you're afraid. So much better to do it the first way. So you sacrifice the first year, courses, practice, smaller bike, and then, if you want to, you get a bigger bike, you'll be so much more ready to handle the power and the weight because you already built a solid foundation. And I know a lot of you watching this video, you're probably like, yeah, it makes sense. I watch your channel, I understand the advice. So who is this video really for? And if you tell people not to do something, they're just gonna wanna go do it anyway. Like, don't think about a pink elephant. Don't think about pizza. Now you're thinking about an elephant eating pizza. But either way, so everybody that's watching, maybe you could send this to a buddy who's thinking about getting into riding and they think their first bike should be this bike, or they think their first bike should be a CBR 600RR or something. And I just highly recommend not doing it. Wisdom is learning from somebody else's mistakes. I don't have to get a DUI to realize that's a really stupid choice and a really bad decision for my life right now. I don't have to go through that myself. I can learn from other people's stupid mistakes, right? Just like crashing. I don't have to crash with the t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops on to realize my skin is going to be absolutely shredded off me, and that's not going to be good. So I don't have to go through that myself to realize I need to wear gear. That's another thing about new riders, just stay away from sport bikes, right? So they're expensive, the insurance expensive, everything else. Your money within the first year of you riding should go into a couple things. Number one, you get your license. Wherever you are in the world, I don't care what damn beginner course looks like to you, you get your license. Finally, you can ride. Got it. Full quality gear. Top to bottom, full quality gear. I don't know if you remember, if you had a different childhood than me, but just try riding a skateboard at 20 miles per hour and hitting a crack and go diving, slip and slide on the cement just at 20 miles per hour. You know how bad that's going to suck? Now you're going on a motorcycle going 80 down the highway. Like, wear gear. Imagine you're in a car wearing the gear you have, whatever you think is appropriate for you. Sweatshirt and jeans is good enough. Open up the door and jump out on the highway. That's what it's going to be like to crash a motorcycle. And that's just assuming you don't hit anything or nobody hits you. Wear full quality gear. So that's where your money should go, full quality gear. And then higher level training. Just because you got your beginner course, you're a beginner with beginner information. There is a reason there's levels to motorcycle training. Why in the world would you go over full body position, trail braking, suspension setup when you could barely shift a second, when you could hardly remember to turn off your blinker? That's why you don't teach physics to 8th graders. There's a lot to learn in between that stuff. So keep on taking formal courses and protect yourself. Number one, protect yourself, protect the bike, formal training, and practice your butt off. Ride, 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 practice, practice, practice for at least minimum a year. If you sacrifice 1 year, build the foundation, then you could go crazy after that. And I guarantee the deaths and accidents and close calls and everything else will go down drastically if people did that. I know it would have been for me because I thought I was all Billy Badass on my CBR 1000 taking these courses like, man, I'm really good, blah, blah. What happened? Went wide in a right-hand corner. Good thing there wasn't a car coming because I'd be dead. I even made a video about my first and only crash on the public road. Here's the thumbnail. You go watch it. But yeah, I went wide going right. There was no car coming, which is why I'm not dead. Went right into a side of a cliff. horrible concussion. Luckily, I was in full quality gear, but bad concussion, destroyed the bike, everything else. And that woke me up and realized, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to take way more training. I need to practice a whole lot more. Whatever it is I thought I learned and I thought I knew how to do, it wasn't enough. And I don't want to crash again ever. I never want to go wide again. And ever since then, I haven't. So learn from my mistakes. Don't buy too big, powerful a bike, and don't think you're awesome because you took a couple courses or a couple track days. Judgment is really, really important. Making better decisions, not putting yourself in stupid situations. But if I would have started on an R3 for my first year instead of a CBR 1000, I think I would have been right now a way better rider, because I'm trying to learn things after the fact, because I got so used to big, powerful bikes so easily. It took me a long time to learn, especially like on the track, like how to actually go quickly through the corners, because I started on a big, powerful bike. So I became lazy, like a lot of people do. They buy a big, powerful bike, they go fast in the straight, fast coming out of the corner. They have no idea how to actually corner. And that's that's the skill, the cornering, not straight lines. How hard is it to do this? Like, you don't have to do anything. It's like anybody can do that. But to actually corner well, brake well, it took me, I had to go backwards because I was so used to big, powerful bikes. I had to go backwards and learn that stuff. So don't be like me. Did I repeat myself enough times yet? I'm trying to get through the people. And whoever you sent this video to that's thinking about getting the sport bike, you are exactly who I'm talking to. You'll be so much better off 2-3 years from now by not starting on a full-blown sport bike. I guarantee it. I promise you. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.